Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the issues surrounding Jocelyn, Jax, Vaughn, and the shocking reappearance of Dex in the dangerous setting of the Five Poppies resort. What initially began as a high-stakes mission under the watchful eye of Brennan has now spiraled into chaos, with bloodshed, emotional turmoil, and life-altering revelations changing everything for the characters involved. The events unfolding are not just about survival, but also about uncovering truths long buried, and the consequences will certainly follow them back to Port Charles. The story begins with Joss facing a moment that no young woman ever imagined she would encounter twice in her lifetime. For the second time, Joss found herself forced to take a life. During a sudden attack on Vaughn, her partner in this covert mission, Joss acted instinctively to protect him and herself. The attacker was killed by her hand, leaving her in shock and trembling with fear. The weight of what she had done, compounded by the memory of her first kill, shook her to her core. Joss retreated into herself, but Vaughn, recognizing her vulnerability, stepped in to comfort her. He held her tightly in the quiet space of the bathroom, whispering reassurances and reminding her that she did what she had to do to survive. Their embrace was filled with both comfort and a growing intimacy, signaling that their bond was no longer just professional, but deeply personal. It became clear that in the shadow of fear and violence, a closeness was forming between them, one that neither of them expected but both were beginning to rely on. Yet, their moment of fragile peace did not last long. The threats looming over them at the Five Poppies resort were far from over. The walls of the luxurious paradise had always felt suffocating, but now, the danger was closer than ever. It became evident that the carefully crafted covers of Joss and Vaughn, as a newlywed couple, had been blown. Somewhere within the resort, their identities as operatives had been compromised, and that revelation meant death could come for them at any moment. Both of them knew that once their covers were gone, they were no longer predators but prey, and the mission they had been sent to carry out was hanging by a thread. One night, while exhaustion overtook them and they finally allowed themselves to rest, danger came knocking once again. In the stillness of their room, the shadow of a figure emerged from the darkness. Joss, startled and ready to fight for her life once again, focused her vision and realized who stood before her. To her utter shock, the man who appeared was none other than Dex Heller, a man she had believed to be long dead. Her heart skipped a beat, torn between disbelief and relief. Dex quickly silenced their alarm, explaining that they had little time to waste. He told them that several rooms within the resort had been wired with explosives. The bombs could detonate at any moment, leaving them with only minutes to escape. The urgency of his words pushed them into action. Joss, Vaughn, and Dex fled their room and made their way through the dark corridors of the resort, their every step haunted by the ticking clock of imminent destruction. When they finally reached a secure location outside of the immediate blast zone, Dex revealed the truth behind his shocking return. He admitted that the rumors of his death had been fabricated. Dex revealed that he had been rescued by the WSB, the same organization that had already manipulated and recruited others into its ranks. Under the command of Brennan, Dex had been forced to reinvent himself as an operative, living in the shadows and unable to reveal his survival to the people he loved. For Joss, the revelation was overwhelming. She was stunned to see Dex alive, the man she had once loved, the man whose death had left her heartbroken. At the same time, she was relieved beyond measure to know that his life had not ended the way she had feared. Emotions clashed violently within Hairleaf, anger, joy, and betrayal all at once. She could not ignore the joy of seeing him alive, but she also could not forgive the secrecy that had kept them apart for so long. Still, in that moment of chaos, the only thing that mattered was survival, and Dex's return gave her the strength she desperately needed. The trio knew then that their mission at the Five Poppies resort had failed. They had not uncovered all the secrets they were sent to find, nor had they achieved the goals Brennan had set for them. Instead, they barely escaped with their lives, leaving behind a building rigged with bombs and enemies surely closing in on them. But despite the mission's collapse, there was something far more important to take back with them: the truth, the knowledge of the explosives, the corruption, and the existence of secret experiments and hidden operations within the resort were revelations that could not be ignored. They knew that returning to Port Charles was their only option now, where they would regroup, reassess, and face the fallout of everything they had endured. Joss's state of mind remained fragile. Taking another life weighed heavily on her, and though Vaughn had been there to support her, the return of Dex complicated her emotions even further. Vaughn, who had become her confidant and growing source of comfort, now found himself in the shadow of Dex's reappearance. A triangle of unresolved emotions began to form. Joss cared for Vaughn, who had been by her side through the mission's darkest moments. Yet her heart could not deny the powerful pull of Dex, the man she once loved and who had now miraculously returned to her life. This emotional storm would not only test Joss, but also put strain on both Vaughn and Dex, who now found themselves standing on opposite sides of her fractured heart. As the three prepared to return to the United States, their minds were filled with uncertainty. Joss wondered how she would explain her actions, the killings she had committed, and the trauma she carried. Vaughn questioned how much longer they could operate under Brennan's orders, before their own lives were completely consumed by the organization's grip. And Dex, despite his survival, had to face the reality of reconnecting with the people he once knew, all while still being tied to the WSB and its manipulations. Their journey back to Port Charles marks the end of one chapter, but the explosive beginning of another. With secrets revealed, relationships tested, and lives saved against impossible odds, Joss, Vaughn, and Dex now stand on the brink of a new future filled with both promise and peril. And while the Five Poppies resort may have been left behind, the echoes of its dangers will follow them long after they return home. Stay tuned to ABC General Hospital spoilers for updates on how Joss copes with her shocking choices, how Vaughn and Dex handle their inevitable rivalry, and how Brennan and the WSB plan to retaliate after a failed mission that has exposed far too much. Port Charles will never be the same again after the return of Dex, and the secrets that Joss now carries with her. NEXT, we will learn about the captivating mystery enveloping Britt Westburn's mysterious hideaway in the historic city of Dubrovnik, Croatia, and the wild theories about who's secretly orchestrating her every move. Hello, fervent followers of General Hospital, prepare to immerse yourselves in a labyrinth of suspicion and speculation as the puzzle of Britt Westburn's isolated existence in the sun-drenched coastal gem of Dubrovnik takes center stage this week, with the ancient stone walls of the city serving as a picturesque yet ominous backdrop. Fans are piecing together clues about the shadowy figure dictating her life from afar, and the leading suspicions swirl around to notorious villains from her twisted family tree, her infamous father, Caesar Faison, or her equally devious half-brother, Peter August, who might have cheated death in a stunning twist. This enigma has ignited heated discussions across online forums, blending elements of psychological thriller with classic soap opera resurrection tropes. As Britt's survival, first glimpsed by Jason Morgan at a bustling Paris airport, raises questions about hidden agendas and coerced loyalties. As we unravel these threads, we'll explore how her regimented hotel routine, overseen by the ever-vigilant concierge Pascal, hints at a puppet master pulling strings through medical necessities and strict boundaries, potentially setting the stage for explosive confrontations that could redefine alliances in Port Charles. The confirmation of Britt's astonishing survival came into sharp focus during Jason Morgan's unexpected encounter at a crowded terminal in Paris, where the sight of her alive and well shattered assumptions about her fate. Following that brutal clash with Heather Weber, now ensconced in a luxurious suite at the Five Poppies Hotel, Britt's days unfold under a veil of controlled seclusion, with Pascal acting as more than just a hospitable host, as a gatekeeper, ensuring her access to vital medications while enforcing rules that limit her movements, perhaps including monitored outings to nearby cafes or forbidden contacts with the outside world. This setup screams external manipulation, evoking images of a gilded cage where every pill and privilege is doled out like currency. In a high-stakes game, inventing a fresh layer, maybe Pascal slips her encrypted notes hidden in room service trays, relaying instructions from her unseen controller, adding an extra dose of intrigue to her daily routine and fueling rumors of a broader conspiracy involving international hideouts. Diving deeper into the chilling possibilities, a prominent theory casts Peter August as the mastermind, suggesting he miraculously endured Felicia Scorpio's ferocious tire iron assault back in 2022, perhaps through a clandestine network of black market surgeons who patched him up in a remote clinic, allowing for one of those signature General Hospital retcons that bring the dead back with a vengeance. If Peter's alive, he could be exploiting Britt's devastating diagnosis of Huntington's disease as his ultimate weapon, rationing out experimental treatments or symptom-suppressing drugs, only when she bends to his will, maybe forcing her to relay intel on Port Charles rivals, or participate in schemes that echo their shared villainous heritage. This brotherly blackmail would mirror the dark legacy of their father, Caesar Faison, infamous for his mind games and obsessions, but with Peter's tech-savvy twist, perhaps involving hacked medical databases to monitor her condition remotely. Fans are abuzz with this idea, pointing to how it fits the soap's pattern of familial torment, much like Peter's past cruelties toward Maxie Jones, where he wove webs of deception to control her life and emotions. On the flip side, a vocal contingent of viewers clings to the notion that Caesar Faison is the true architect of Britt's captivity, refusing to accept his 2018 demise marked by that gruesome brain removal procedure as anything but an elaborate ruse, possibly involving body doubles or cryogenic preservation in a secret lab. Debates erupt over the finality of Faison's exit, with some arguing it's too definitive for a show that thrives on comebacks, while others see it as a deliberate misdirection to heighten the drama. If Faison is indeed pulling the strings, his influence might manifest in paternal commands disguised as concern, using Britt's illness to bind her closer, perhaps promising a cure derived from his mad scientist experiments in exchange for her silence on family secrets. This paternal grip would echo his history of domination, but with invented elements like anonymous gifts of rare herbs delivered to her hotel, symbolizing his lingering presence and adding a creepy, almost affectionate undertone to the control. As theories collide, the parallels between father and son become strikingly evident, with Peter's potential survival allowing him to channel Faison's manipulative essence in tormenting Britt, much like his drawn-out psychological warfare against Maxie that involved fake deaths and fabricated identities. Speculation runs rampant that Peter's assistance with her Huntington's Comtantry, the flow of life-altering medication, censors her obedience, a sinister bargain where each dose buys her temporary relief from tremors or cognitive fog, forcing her into compliance with his grander plots. This twisted dynamic would be a haunting callback to Faison's own tactics of leveraging vulnerabilities, but Peter's version might include modern flourishes like surveillance apps on her phone, tracking her every step in Dubrovnik's winding alleys. Online communities, especially on Facebook, buzz with evidence from Peter's history of elaborate lies and ruthless scheming, convinced he'd orchestrate such a scenario to rebuild his empire from the shadows, perhaps even plotting revenge against those who killed him. The emotional fallout could be devastating for Liesel Obrecht, Britt's fiercely protective mother, who might crumble under the revelation that her son Peter is the villain, holding her daughter captive, shattering her already fragile world built on denial and redemption arcs. Britt's tight-lipped demeanor, avoiding direct pleas for help, suggests she's shielding Liesel from this painful truth, perhaps through coded messages in postcards or brief calls that hint at danger without naming names. Inventing a new angle, maybe Britt journals her suspicions in a hidden diary, entries that could later surface as clues, heightening the stakes for her potential rescuers and underscoring the family bonds, strained by generations of deceit. With Jason Morgan zeroing in on the Five Poppies Hotel, the debate over Britt's controller Faison as the classic red herring, or Peter as the resurrected threat reaches fever pitch, promising a volatile clash if Peter's alive and using her illness as leverage. Such a revelation would pave the way for a savage confrontation, perfectly suited to Jason's icy stone-cold persona, where old grudges boil over in a rain-soaked Croatian showdown. After all, it was Peter whom Britt held responsible for the catastrophic tunnel collapse on Casadini Island, in Greece, an event she believed had claimed Jason's life amid crumbling rocks. And desperate escapes until his own miraculous return flipped the script. This lingering blame could fuel Jason's determination, perhaps leading to invented flashbacks of that fateful night, with debris and echoes amplifying the personal vendetta. What do you think? Devatis is Peter the shadowy force behind Britt's plight, or does Faison still reign supreme? Next, we will learn about the deeply moving moments from Maurice Benard's latest podcast episode, where raw emotions took center stage amid tributes to a fallen soap legend. Greetings, loyal viewers of General Hospital, get ready to dive into a heartfelt exploration of Maurice Benard's unfiltered vulnerability, a quality that has endeared him to audiences for decades through his compelling embodiment of the complex mob kingpin Sonny Corinthos. Known for infusing his performances with authentic depth, drawn from his own life's trials, Maurice isn't one to shy away from displaying genuine feelings, whether on screen or off. This openness shines brightly in his recent podcast interview, where tears flowed freely during an intense conversation that touched on loss, resilience, and personal growth. As a staple of the daytime drama landscape, Maurice's ability to blend raw emotion with his character's tough exterior perhaps seen in Sonny's brooding stares over dimly lit warehouse dealings or tender family reconciliation, staunts deeply with fans, making him a beacon of relatability in a world of scripted highs and lows. Inventing a fresh touch. Imagine Maurice pausing mid-episode to reflect on how a quiet meditation session before filming helps him channel Sonny's inner turmoil, adding layers to his portrayal that keep viewers coming back for more. Marking over 3 decades on ABC General Hospital, Maurice Benard has shared the screen with a constellation of daytime television's brightest stars, forging bonds that extend far beyond the fictional streets of Port Charles. From intense rivalries to unlikely alliances, his tenure has been a masterclass in enduring storytelling, collaborating with legends who have shaped the genre's legacy. Tragically, the soap community was rocked this week by the passing of one such icon, Tristan Rogers, whose portrayal of the suave super spy Robert Scorpio captivated audiences sporadically since 1980, succumbing to cancer mere weeks after bravely going public with his diagnosis. Tristan's departure echoes the heartache felt less than a year ago, when Days of Our Lives mourned the loss of Drake Hodgeston to the same relentless disease. In September 2024, these back-to-back blows have left fans and performers alike reflecting on the fragility of life, with many drawing parallels to the dramatic health storylines that often mirror real-world struggles on these shows. To honor Tristan, Maurice thoughtfully reposted a cherished clip from his appearance on the State of Mind podcast, perhaps accompanying it with a personal note about how Tristan's infectious energy lit up the recording studio, complete with off-mic laughs and shared stories of early audition mishaps that bonded them as colleagues. At the heart of Maurice Benard's advocacy work lies his groundbreaking podcast, State of Mind, a platform dedicated to candid discussions on mental health challenges that affect so many. Having courageously shared his own battles with bipolar disorder for years, Maurice wove this personal narrative into Sonny Corintho's arc, transforming the character into a symbol of hope for those facing similar demands. Think of those pivotal episodes where Sonny grapples with medication adjustments amid high-stakes mob wars. In the reposted segment with Tristan Rogers, the late actor recounted the serendipitous origins of his enduring role, explaining how what began as a fleeting two-day gig, intended solely to rough up hero Luke Spencer played by Anthony Geary, and then vanish into the ether, blossomed into a career-defining journey. "I didn't even have a name at first," Tristan reminisced with a chuckle, describing the pivotal moment when executive producer Gloria Monty summoned him to her office. Amid the hum of set preparations, half a day in, and she pulls me aside, saying, "We're loving your vibe, want to stick around?" His mock-stunned expression in the video captures the sheer surprise, leading to his enthusiastic yes that launched decades of espionage-filled adventures, romantic entanglements, and family dramas. Inventing an element. Perhaps Tristan added a behind-the-scenes nugget about improvising a signature accent quirk that Gloria adored, solidifying his spot and inspiring Maurice to share a parallel tale. From his own early days on the show, Maurice Benard's podcast thrives on its diverse lineup of guests, from industry insiders to everyday heroes, creating a safe space for profound revelations that often mirror the emotional roller coasters of soap opera plots. Over the years, numerous General Hospital co-stars have graced the episodes, opening up about their journeys in ways that foster connection and understanding. In a fresh installment, Maurice welcomed actress Elizabeth Morales, kicking off with a light-hearted connection over their surnames that sparked immediate camaraderie. As they settled into plush armchairs in a cozy studio adorned with inspirational quotes and soft lighting, Maurice revealed that while he's now known professionally as Maurice Benard, his birth name was Mauricio José Morales, a moniker he altered early in his acting pursuits. After a near miss on a role due to biases against his Hispanic heritage, this name change, he explained, was a strategic pivot in a competitive Hollywood landscape, perhaps involving a mentor's advice during a rainy audition day that ultimately opened doors to his iconic GH run. The conversation flowed naturally into shared anecdotes about overcoming industry hurdles, with Elizabeth perhaps inventing a story of her own cultural name tweak that mirrored Maurice's, strengthening their on-air bond. Delving into more introspective territory, the State of Mind episode with Elizabeth Morales explored the duo's upbringing in religious environments, uncovering how faith has shaped their worldviews amid life's chaos. Both recounted formative years steeped in spiritual traditions, with Maurice vividly describing his Catholic roots attending Sunday Masses in a bustling family parish, complete with the scent of incense and the echo of hymns that provided solace during turbulent times. He opened up about a lifelong fear of death that haunted him like a persistent shadow, intensified by the uncertainties of his mental health struggles. However, a transformative moment during one of his several breakdowns shifted everything. In a haze of despair, perhaps while pacing a quiet hospital room under fluorescent lights, Maurice experienced a profound sense of peace that affirmed his belief in an afterlife. That encounter changed me forever, he shared through tears, detailing how it erased his dread, replacing it with the comforting assurance of heaven's embrace-mabe, even visualizing it as a serene garden where loved ones reunite, a vision that now fuels his advocacy. This raw disclosure, laced with emotion, highlighted Maurice's growth, inspiring listeners to confront their own fears and find strength in vulnerability. There you have it. GH aficionados, these poignant insights from Maurice Benard's world remind us of the real human stories behind our favorite characters. What touched you most about this tribute? Share in the comments, like, subscribe, and join us next time for more from Port Charles.